Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to all of you guys joining me to the Zoom call today. This is the 20th um, live Zoom call that I have since March, and I'm really excited to have you guys join me today. And something's very simple. Is we're going to talk about the futures of apartment investing. And I'm doing this online on multiple channels as I always do this, and to maximize my reach to all of you guys, apartment investors who traditionally don't have the resources, don't have the ability, don't have the channel, so to speak, to be able to do and learn, and then to partner and learn about the fundamentals of apartment investing. And I've been doing this since beginning of March, and I always have monthly meetups, and I always have meetings that I love to share with all you guys. But the truth is, I do this because everyone's kind of basically stuck at home, and I kind of say, what's the best way to really share something that I've been doing for the last few years. And my journey started back to 2006, and I am one of you guys, and I start learning and how to do up. Actually, at that time, it's just really condo investing, and I don't have too much of a clue. Excuse me, of how to do this and how to do investing in general. And I end up like some of you guys coming to meetings like this, right? And online and offline, actually mostly offline at that time. And to basically trying to learn how to do investments in real estate. And that's kind of how I started long time ago, and got my single families in my hometown in Calgary, and slowly to expand it to other cities in Canada, and eventually to investing in the US and investing in my hometown in Hong Kong, and also in China. So but I've been doing this because I believe there's a market for people to learn. There's a market for other people to be able to learn, to network. I set up my meetup in 3 years ago. At the beginning, that's really not many people to join my group, and now I'm really happy to say that we have over 280 individuals who joined local group in Calgary. And I've been doing meetups on a monthly basis in Calgary, local Calgary library, meeting all you guys investors on a physical level before the library will close. But and this is the Zoom call that I always want to do it, because I want to have more consistent basis and seeing you guys online, offline, didn't matter, on a weekly level. This is so. Let me know if you guys are on Facebook, join me on the Zoom call, and if you're on YouTube, join me on the Zoom call, because I have the slides over there, right? And I'm really glad to see some returning people coming to the Zoom call. I hope it helped you. The idea of this is weekly catch up, weekly meetings, catch up on where the apartment investing is going. As someone who have been investing and continually investing, I truly believe in investing in apartments. I want to share what I know, what I'm seeing in the market, and who are the shaker and mover, so to speak, and what's the market look like. And I would like to share what I see. What's the market like? What is the capital market like? And occasionally, I bring in some of the really key industrial practitioner, and they share the loan, they share the market, they share the capital market, they share deal flow, and sometimes I have major investor coming in and to share what they see. So I hope it becomes helpful to the community. That's my true intent. So welcome everyone. So if you guys don't know me, So I've been investing in Calgary and US and Canada, as the slide said, in single families, and start investing in US market in 2012, and my first multifamily project 2018. Um, and This is my 20th Zoom call with many of you guys, and this is the 25th meetings presentation so far this year, and I just have counted over 3,000 audience I have the fortune to be able to speak with, and to be online, offline, the Facebook games. I could not keep track, but mostly it's from meetups and mostly from Zoom. And I'm really glad to be able to speak with over 3,000 Facebook followers on my group, and looking forward to expand, looking forward to give more values to the community. And I'm from Canada. When I creating this, my true intent is I want to give something for Canadians. I want to give something for Canadians that hopefully you guys don't have to do what I did at the beginning and go to US and learn from all these apartment guys and girls, and able to do this at local Canadian soil. And that's really one of my big grand goal, is to be able to go to basically representing, as a Canadian investor, how can we do this, from Canadian. So I have been basically able to do this, successfully doing this by learning from many of the US guys, and go to US, multiple cities, and travel a lot for the past 5 years. So I hope that you don't have to do what I did, to be away from home for many times. But this is what my platform is about, to be able to give and share and what I know in the apartment investing for the US market. And I don't have all the answer, as I said. That's a caveat. I want to let you know I don't have all the answer, and that's why I continuously in introducing and invite other successful investors to be in the group, and to be able to share what do they know. I believe in the team. I believe in hugely in the team settings, and that's how I learned. That's how you do real estate investing, to be able to do this successfully, is to have a really good team and to nurture it, and to continuously building it. So today's topic is really actually nothing really fancy. I don't want to. That's something that I've been thinking of lately as well. How can I make it more useful? And I've been almost want to cut the Zoom call to be only just 2 times only a month. So I'm actually doing some thinking along the way, as you see. Like at the beginning of March, I have from now on 5-6 months or 3-4 months, I have about 20th Zoom call. So I want to give more high quality values. That's kind of what I've been changing my thought for last month or so. I've been doing more on my own things. I launched home investing program at the end of June, and that has been going very good. Thank you. And but today's topic, quick and short. So I want to talk about future of investing in apartments, because everyone's asking these questions right now. So what are we going to see, right? What is it going to be like? There's so much uncertainty right now as we speak. I'm looking outside on all this high 50-story, 60-story, million square feet of office space out there. So what does the outlook look like? Luckily, we are investing in apartments, so we actually are, we are affected. Everyone is affected in this kind of situations. But we say that if you are investing in hotel and retail, you're so hard hit right now. We are slowly seeing some of the effect on apartments. Also, I should say, slowly seeing some of the trend coming down from COVID, from largely from renters, from demographics, slowly changing right now as we speak. People are slowly doing the things, they rather to live in garden style. One of the things is like garden style and apartments, And what they're going to be doing is like in terms of renting, in terms of the preferences of what and where and how they want to rent. And that's really, really key as an apartment investor to know what you are buying and what you are actually targeting. And I often talk about that in my book, right? I often talk about it in my book, in my Brian Tracy book. And the number one thing that you have to do as investors is really researching your market. And the market obviously is geographical sense, like basically where you investing. But more importantly is also the type of the class of the investments that you are going to be targeting and investing as investors. So we can talk about a little about that today, touching a little bit of the future of apartment investings, and pay attention to those because that's going to be a long trend. And the COVID have changed so many ways and in our life, in how we live and how we work and how we are buying. And this will not be exceptions to how we're going to invest and how the tenant is going to live the life and the families. So we continuously pay attention. So we cannot be stopping and trying to understanding what the market is going to look like. So I've been talking about over and over again. That's I believe is one of the reasons why I do this. Is I don't think apartment investing is the only thing that you can do in investing in real estate. But one of the few things that you can do with apartments is you have positive cash flow if you know how to pick the right market, invest in cash flow markets. And we do this, and that's why my particular strength and focus for my company Hey to Brick and for my investors, we focus on hard asset, had stabilized the market and improving on apartment, whether they're class C, class B, on secondary market, and basically a market that's not overclouded in terms of overclouded of demographics, people, renters, and also investors. So really glad to say that it's kind of like a bragging, right? You can say that we haven't missed one payment since the beginning of a portfolio with our investors, and something that I'm really take it very, very seriously to have the strong fiduciary responsibility to my investors. And our portfolio have increased 53% of the asset value during the last 24 months. So we're really proud of doing that because I believe it's because we touch on something that is going to be last for the next 5 years, 20 years, or even 50 years. The apartment we are looking at, they were initially built in the 50s and 60s and 70s. So it has lasted through multiple of cycles, and it's still here, and it's still cash flowing. So arguably same as some of the office buildings and some of the retails. So because it is the aspect of hard asset, it's something is tangible. It's something that is going to be have rent coming in every single month. So, but what this Zoom call is really about is, as I said, whether I've been speaking on stage, on book, and on newspaper, it's really one unifying thing. You can improve your investment. There's no other things that you can do this. You can improve. You can borrow tax-free money from the loan, and you can if you know how to do this. And I always say that because I didn't actually learn it from nothing. I actually follow other people who have done this. So you can actually create a legacy for your family. And if not, then you can actually cash flow way better than single families. And I shared it many times. Not going to touch on that too much. So this is my online platform that I said that I launched earlier last month. But it basically comes down to this 8 steps. So for the guys and girls who have been joining me for a while, they know that I've never stopped delete. I never have one time that have not such a slides like this. I always have slides. So if you are the first times coming and see me chat, so this is really come down to the X steps that I do, and I strongly encourage you to make a note of that, because it really comes down to that X steps. Finding the market, right? As I said, like I even have said this X steps in my book, in my Brian Tracy book. You have to research, you have to raise capital, and you have to build your credibility. And maybe most important, if not the single most important thing, is how do you create a team successfully? Attracting people to be working along with you, to partner with you, is not a simple task. And you have to negotiate a deal with brokers, but creating a team is such an important thing to be able to give something for other people to, in exchange, something, whether they invest or giving you capital, right? In exchange of something that you're going to be providing, and you said you're going to providing, which is return and trust. How do you do that, right? It's come down to this X steps, but I'm not going to bore you with that today. We're going to talk about a few things, right? What is the apartments investing future is going to look like? And that's something that, again, I'm not going to say this is the only way to invest in apartments. This is something that I've been reading online for, at the beginning, I would say closer to the April, May, and people slowly realizing that this is a pivotal point in our history as human race, how we can live and how we are going to rent and how we are going to do certain things or not do certain things. This has 180 degrees. I'm sure you understand that has changed our life 100%. So something that has come up quite often, right? And is apartment is not going to go to disappear just simply because we all need a place to live. But even though that's true, but the demand of apartments, where and the style and how renters is going to pick as a preferences, what apartments they're going to rent, that is going to change, right? We need more space now, and because everyone's right now, we work at home and we spend a lot of time at home, and we're encouraged to spend more time at home. So some of the things, including garden style, suburban, likely not in the major metropolitan areas, where you have like major exterior access and outdoor common areas. The dog part is something that I've been hearing a lot. That is really crucial, because we want to spend more time at home, and we want to have the space. And the only way to do that is not the high-rise building that you see at the downtown or CBD area. And so the garden style apartment has becomes over and over, at least for the last 2 months, few months, becomes a great appeal for, you can say, the virus very renter. And the truth is, who are not thinking at least of what the future is going to look like. We all want clean, spacious, and open style apartments. But this has just accelerated the trend, maybe totally change the trend, but accelerate the trend absolutely in the time span of 2 weeks. There you go. We need that. So that has changed, right? In our investing community, that has changed, and we need to understanding that. So Gardenstyle by dictionary is a community that features, exterior access, meaning sometimes, if most of the apartments have shared access. So if you have Gardenstyle, it's kind of like a town houses, row houses style, if you're a Canadian like me. And landscape, you have your own yard in front and back, maybe just front or back. And maybe plus additionally common areas for tenants to hang out, to playground, and don't have to go to the public area, but it's kind of like at your backyard, so to speak. And the structure generally limited to 4-story, because as we said, we don't want to be too high. Otherwise, you're going to have elevators. You're going to share the common access to other tenants, and which is the trend that we want to the tenants is shining away, and as supposed to feature single story units, but these properties typically don't have elevators as we speak. Each unit have entrance at the backyard or the front. So those are the basically by book. What is the garden style community? And if you Google garden style, you basically see if Canadian investors are listening to this call, it's kind of basically in the Canadian, it's basically row house, right? You have a whole bunch of houses and run at the back and the end unit at the end, right? And you have a whole bunch of it in the middle, but they have individual access to the door, to the unit, and they don't necessarily share a lot of common areas other than the front yard or the playground, if they have a swimming pool access or community centers. So some of the investments, we talk about vintage, multifamily access, many of the B and C class, that because we have to really pay attention. What we're seeing in this extended trend is it's whether Donald Trump is going to be the next president or not. The printing money's way of supporting the economy is not going to be last forever, and right now they're talking about the second ones right now. So they already have so much discussion going on, and the fact is this cannot go on forever. And so what I mean by that is there's going to be eventually had implications for some of the really high-end luxury apartments, because tenants is going to have less ability to be able to afford it. And the business was really, really big thing. Why B and C class? Because you can do value add, right? And that's really, really one major steps in apartment investing is it's good that you buy something that you can actually cash flow on from day one. But it's totally another thing that you can buy apartments that you can actually go in and I want to spend 30 seconds talk about value add in here. Is value add meaning that you can go in and really fix up, not the major items, not what Grizzly guys talk about, like the bones, not talk about structures, but really you're going into fix up the washroom, the bathroom, new vanity, new lighting, new paint, and even the faceplate on the kitchen, the hardware, and maybe new appliances, right? So what it all does, and I touch on a lot of things, is basically bathroom and kitchen. And we all know that as a family man too, the woman of the home, and I'm trying to be I'm trying to be realistic. They're really focusing on, does it have a good amenities at the washrooms, at the bathroom, and the kitchen. That's really, really important, because typically, from historically speaking, the female sex take care, control the home. So we have to be really knowing our our customer, which is renters in this case. So going back to the value add potential is you find the B and C class that you can actually go in and do those work that I talk about. And what you can do is you can increase the rent. And I'm going to give one nugget here to you. And if you don't know, ask me later. Every dollar increase on the rent, every dollar increase, if you're paying $1,000 a month and you can increase your rent to $1,001, every dollar increase on rent is equal to 100 times to 150 times increase of equity values. So it's not a formula that I want to discuss today, but that's apartment guys, investment guys like us. We know that formula from the back of our hand. So that is what we talk about. Value add is so powerful and so immensely powerful that we have to pay attention to that all the time. So find those B and C class, garden style, that tenants love. Tenants will love to go in and pay increased rent because you do the work. And those will be, at least at this stage, the future, so to speak, of apartment investing. and those areas they can find those have value added opportunity, meaning usually you are buying at not at the peak of the market, right? Not at the market value because they haven't do the work, and they need someone like you and I to go in to improve that. Another trend that I actually um, didn't put it on the first slides, including myself. I'm a millennials. So millennials are sticking to renting. Um, and millennial, I think, is right now is in between the range of 25 to 30 or 49 or 40. Um, I'm a cluster myself, so but I'm also millennials. So a lot of millennials is being priced out right now to be able to have the ability to own the real estate because of pandemic, because of many millennials from many research talk about that they are the last one who has been recovered, right, from the last economy recessions in 2008. So many of that were trying to get back on the feet, but this pandemic hit. So many of the investors or many of the millennials also don't want to stick with the foreclosure risk. First thing I heard in my home market in Ohio from my property manager is at the beginning we talked about March, April. We see a wave of selling sign for sale by owners, Remax, you name it, on many areas in Ohio because they're trying to avoid what happened to them in the last times, which is foreclosure, which is bank calling for their loan. So a lot of what all that does, they still need a place to put their family to put their family with a roof on. So a lot of those um, um, homeowners has become renters because they're trying to shy away and trying to basically mitigate the risk and from future you can say the oscillations, a future effect on this pandemic. And we don't know, we still haven't seen at this stage of the of the health effect, and also we haven't seen the full swing economic effect on this pandemic. Even we talk about 6 months, if you talk about from Asia times from now on, we haven't seen the full effect on this. So a lot of millennials, they are doing what I think is right by conversing the risk to more sophisticated investors to basically go back to renting. What that does, it just means that much more bigger tenant pool, rental pool will be going to be in the rental market, and they may be continues to rent until they're 50 and 40 and 50, and even if their family, that has been showing up again and again on a lot of research, on a lot of papers on US and Canada. So millennial is another trend that is going to be we have to pay attention. But going back to why Gardenstyle makes sense, many jobs has been moving away from CBD, as we see in Austin area. Many tech firms going to suburbs. One major thing is, of course, is the health benefit of that. And another major benefit is actually the cost of setting up offices in suburban areas, whether a class A, B, or C. Where a lot of the tech firm has been talking about go to Denver, goes to Austin, going to all this, going to Georgia, going to Atlanta, all this, secondary major market, as opposed to San Francisco, Boston, New York, and Seattle. They're moving to inland because the suburban areas can provide high quality of living, working with a fraction of the price that they're investing in those major cities and major metropolitans. And often than not, since 2008, a lot of the cities that we talk about, including the Midwest, have increased the transportation, multiple flows. They invest on the public transportation. They investing in the tech sectors. But might say that again is a fraction of the price of what we are talking about in Vancouver, Toronto, New York, all these major cities that has the real estate prices has increased multiple times. And another major thing is vintage multifamily, attractive landlords and investors. You know, as I talked about that earlier, probably attract investors as because apartment complexes are close to major city, but not in the major city. Because as a fraction of price for investor, again, we are really as investors, with the investor, we are really yield hungry, right, so to speak. We're looking for high yield return with a mitigated risk if you have major enough populations. So we're going to the cities that outside, a little bit outside of those, that the land is not appreciated a lot yet, the market hasn't appreciated a lot yet, and still have the opportunity to increase the rent, still have the opportunity to do the value add. And class C and B's fit just right there during the recession like this, because they are not charging the top of the spectrum of the rents, and have not. One thing that is really special, and I read it and even put it on today's slides, is this is something that's very special. During the last recessions, during B and C class usually dip down quite a bit, but this one, we haven't dropped below 91% on occupancy, in at least from right now as we speak. Because I think it's because one of the thing is rent has increased for a lot A, B, or C for the last expansions, you can call that, and a lot of B and C has do a lot of value add since 2012 and almost 2019, just before the pandemic hit. So a lot of apartments has improved, and a lot of apartments have also, has really key thing. Why is it attracting to landlord like us? Is because they have a really good yield cap curve, so to speak. They're still at a 6 or 7, or if you can find a 6 or 7, you can improve it to 8 and 9 cap, as apartment guys like us always like to say. And it becomes very attractive, right? And because you always want to find cash flow investment, and no matter what kind of environment, especially time like this, because we don't know, I think we know where the loan market is going to go. The interest rate is going to probably stay as is for the next 5 years, as I keep paying attention to what the Fed changing the message again. For the last few decades, they haven't changed the message of 2% inflation target. So they have changed that, I think, a few days ago. So they want to keep it even lower. Something that we're not going to discuss today because it's totally separate topic. But it means that apartment prices would largely staying, I would say, on the loan side. It will not be increasing in terms of P&I, in terms of the payment. The refinance market has been really hard, and it still continue to be doing that since the pandemic because of the rate decrease. But going back, 2 bedrooms, as this is the slide that I intentionally leave it there. Apartment, along with industrial and medical office, maybe data center, that's really tiny the market of the investment community, will be the only thing that's left to be kind of like makes sense on a long-term, medium-term to long-term basis, that doesn't need huge amount of recover and huge amount of changes of consumer behavior that need to go back to the office, or need many tourism support going back to the hotel, and or need all of us to going back to the mall. So all those will take years, if that will change. But apartments, we're still living, and that's why I'm so bullish on that. And hope all of you guys who've been listening to pay attention to this. And in my group, I would like to share that apartments is not going down any day soon. Though we don't know what is short term, we don't know what's the medium term is going to be like. The cap rate, we don't know, because there's a lot of price discovery since the pandemic hit. The price discovery will not end in Q3, Q4, even until next year, Q1, Q2. If we're still going on, It's still going on right now, and something that we just have to pay attention. Something that I pay attention a lot. Going to meeting like this, listening to other investors who's been doing well in this in this space. So keep it short. As I said, like I'm doing some changes on my Zoom call, but I want to keep it like kind of like 30 minutes around ish. I know this is midday. Many listeners are slowly going back to work and want to keep it by short. But as I said, I want to be building a community that I boot camp, Zoom calls like this, weekly, monthly meetups like what I have on this Saturday, and 1 p.m. Actually 1 p.m. this Saturday I have a monthly meetups, which is because the second Saturday of the month, and also launching my I have launched my home study program, something that I'm so proud. Since about 2 weeks we launched ago, we already have over 80 subscribed individuals that's learning how to invest. So keep coming because it's something that we have to do this more often rather than meeting face by face. It's something that you can do and automate it. You can do it at home. You can do it at 3 a.m. and you can do it anytime. So um, I think that's basically that's it. What I want to share today. And again, come to my next week's Wednesday Zoom call. I encourage all you guys to come join us on Zoom call again next Wednesday. And the slides is about this Saturday. And we talk about how to attract your investor, raising capital, something that we really proud to be able to do, continuously to do, is providing a trust platform for investors to be able to invest along with us. But really, on the flip side, I want to share what I've been able to doing it. I hope to give you some insight for all of you guys who are starting on this journey. Say that I don't have the resources, how would I want to learn how to do this? Come because I want to keep helping hands as if what other people has helped me along the way, how to invest yourself in attracting investors, attracting mentors and sponsors into your circle, and that's really crucial in all of real estate guys. Apartment for sure, but every investing guys in the real estate need to know this, I think. And with that, I would like to conclude the meeting. I would like to thank everyone for taking midday and your precious time to come join with us. And I hope this has given you some values, and I hope this becomes something that you maybe you want to keep doing it, maybe for for the purpose of learning one thing a week on how to do investment, and it's free. That I want to keep intentionally keep this Zoom call as free, and for you guys to learn, for you guys to prosper, and wish you all well. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And YouTube, Zoom, and Facebook, thank you for all for joining us. And we'd love to see you guys on this Saturday. Love to see you guys all on next Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Enjoy the sun out there and go outside and be a family. Thank you. Thank you.